What's over there? And I just do one of these quick vertical lives today. Get some stuff I gotta do later. And then I don't know exactly what you do on the weekends, but I'll do a decently long stream tomorrow. But I just don't. Some things I gotta take care of today. But yeah, not that I can't like put some work into the school. Like I'll have time to do other things, but I just the like logistics of today means I can't stream for very long. Yeah, we'll just wait for people to join. These ones are weird because I think they don't send notifications for the first few minutes. So, and I don't know if people even watch these back. So maybe, I don't know, I have a microphone for my phone. I probably should use it, but I don't know if it's charged, so I'm not gonna break it out now. But yeah, we can work on these. I think we can do these for my desktop too. So one thing I've seen people do is they do a normal horizontal one and then a vertical one. And then people also stream on TikTok too, so I can start doing that too. I just don't know if it's gonna be worthwhile. It's like the shit I see on TikTok live is just I don't know if it's just my feed. The things I see are just like the dumbest things possible. Yeah, we'll wait for some people to join. So Captain Black. I don't know. Interesting name. How's everything with you? Everything good? What are you doing? I'm streaming. What am I doing? I feel like the answer's right there. Just showing this guy, this guy. You want any book suggestions? I guess that's what I titled this stream. That's the only reason I asked. We don't have to, we can just talk about other stuff. Oh my god. It's good at Nadia. What am I reading right now? I am reading, you ever play Roblox? No, I never played Roblox. What I'm reading right now, I'm actually about to finish it. I have like 20 pages left. Is The Stranger. Pretty good book. I don't really get the point of it yet. I have to like see the ending. But it's by Albert Camus. Hypnodia likes me saying it that way. But he's an absurdist philosopher, so it's interesting. I realized I read it before when I was younger, but I don't really remember it. So it like hit me after I got like 70 pages in. I was like, damn, I've read this before. Yeah, hit that like is Hypnodia. I feel like it's so cringe when like streamers say that stuff. There's people that will be like, I'm not gonna start streaming until I have 100 likes or 1,000 likes. I'm not gonna do that here. But yeah, I'm reading that. I don't know what I'm gonna read next. I think I'm like 80 pages into this, Metaphysics by Aristotle. I don't know if you guys can see it. And then I also just picked up this Notes from the Underground by Dostoevsky. If I buy a book and I don't read it instantly, there's like a 0% chance I'll ever get to it. Like, I'll get to it, but it'll be months later. So when I buy books, I try to get right to it. Otherwise, I'll just never pick it up. So um, that's the issue with me. Like, I'm like a kid in a candy store. Like, my eyes just get big, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I need this. Oh, let's run my hair. Alright. Dude, it's so annoying. This thing, when it's like cold in my room right now, and it only turns on when I start doing this. Like, it should have been on all morning. Can we pin that message? There we go. Hypnotic, you're gonna be famous now. We pinned the message. Yeah, what do you guys want to talk about? We can talk about anything right now. Book suggestions, what I'm reading, what I want to read, things that I've really liked. Like it could literally go anywhere. Sucks whenever I start streaming, I just start picking up the books in front of me. I found these old books by John Delors, The Beach House we rented, reading some. What does he talk about? What are his books about? I don't even know that name. I really wish I started reading earlier because like there's so many things I want to read and it's just like I'm just so excited to pick these things up and it's just like I can't imagine like where I'd be if I started reading much earlier. Like it's literally only been maybe a year that I've read books and I've read hundreds. Like it's just I can't wait to see where this goes. I can't wait to see what changes. Maybe even more than hundreds. I don't know. I don't know the exact number. Like I filled up an entire bookshelf over there, and my bookshelf at home is also full. And it's literally stuff I've read in the past year. It's kind of crazy. You think about it. Damn, why the fuck is it so cold here? I'm gonna put sweatpants on. Yeah, what do you guys want to read? Ryan Holiday? I have a book by him right here. Should I read him? I have this book. I don't know if it's a good one or not. I've never read any books by him. But I don't know. The thing is, anytime I see someone popular in mainstream, I kind of like become a hater of them. And it's okay. I don't know if there's like a book that's like mainstream popular, I don't really give much credit to it. But if not to say that there can't be good books, but it's like I'm never gonna read Harry Potter. I'm never gonna read like that kind of stuff. So whatever is mainstream, I always think it's not for me because anything that's mainstream kind of has to cater to that kind of audience. That Elmo, maybe. They're horror stories for kids. Okay. Damn, you were an edgy kid. Were you goth when you were little? Yeah, I was literally like, everyone thinks I live in like a, what are those like the horror things for Halloween? Like the prisons they turn into whatever. Yeah, that was interesting to least. Yeah, I know Ryan Holiday talks about Stoicism, and Stoicism is an interesting philosophy. I just think it's not. I don't know. It's not really like something where I'm like, oh my god, this is life changing stuff. I think it's all pretty basic stuff. I mean, the way I would define Stoicism, this may not be exactly correct, but this is my understanding, is literally just viewing your situation and taking the middle road, not being too excited, not being too down, finding ways to find the good and bad in everything. That's basically what I see it as. Anything goosebumps, I would always try to scare. Did you wear all black to school? That's what I'm thinking. Should read Meditations. I have. Good book. The thing about Meditations is it's not really intended to be a book, and it's cool because it's not intended to be a book, but it's more like, the way I would define it is like, it's like affirmations. It's not really him like expanding any of the ideas of Stoicism. Like, you read Seneca, you're like, this is the most interesting thing I've ever read, and it has so much wisdom in it, and like, he's literally like the smartest grandfather ever. That's how I would describe Seneca. Like, Seneca's just like an old guy who literally like just knows everything about the world, and you're just like, I don't know if you ever had this conversation with your grandpa and he's like instilling wisdom on you. It's like literally that, but times a million. That's how I view Seneca. Whereas Marcus Aurelius, it's more so like someone trying to understand these things and apply them into their life. So I just think it's a different approach. It's like, not necessarily that it's a bad book. I just think for Stoicism, Seneca's a better resource. Even Epictetus is pretty good too. Discourses, that's another really good book. Overall, I just like, I don't know. Like, if I'm gonna read Stoicism, I'll just read Eastern philosophy, because that's really where Stoicism derives from. It's basically Taoism, and I think Taoism's more artful. I think it's more poetic and more interesting. I think it has more applicability, where Stoicism kind of just like meh in my mind. But it's like anything, like, to each their own. Like, I just like the artistic aspect of Taoism, Epictetus. I have a book over there. You want me to grab it? This book, Discourses, pretty good. Again, it's trying to remember. Trying to find good quotes, but I don't remember. Yeah, this is a really good book. I just, again, Seneca's the go-to, I would say, on Stoicism. It's, the only reason I knew about this book is because of Marcus Aurelius, literally, because he cites this book. So like, a good way to find books that you're interested in is find authors that you like and find who inspired them. Like, that's a really good way of doing it. Like, a lot of the books I found on Law of Assumption, Law of Attraction, I found out about this book from Bob Proctor. Again, Bob Proctor. I found out about this book because I liked Albert Camus. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, if someone you respects that author, maybe that's a good way to go about finding their works. Again, Neville Goddard, I found out through, Bob Proctor. It's like, it's interesting. So like, if you hear a book talked about in another book, it might be a good way to find new suggestions, find new things to go down. Because like people ask me where I find these books. It's one, it's like I go on Amazon and I see them suggested, and two, like I'll go to the bookstore and like if I've heard of the book before, then that's usually an indication that it's somewhat noteworthy. If I've heard it from either another book or someone on stream told me to pick it up, like it's generally if you've heard of the book title, if you've heard something about it, it's not necessarily a bad approach. Franz Kafka, The Prince. I literally was in the bookstore yesterday and I saw that. Is that a good book? Should I add that to a list? I think I've read Kafka when I was younger, but I don't remember what he's about. He's an existentialist, right? I have quotes on my phone from this book, but I don't remember the pages. That's what sucks about streaming on my phone that I can't. Kafka-esque, but I don't even know what that means. I'll grab my laptop. We'll look it up. I feel like I keep getting out. Oh shit! I almost just wiped out. You guys didn't see that. We'll look into what Kafka's about. I don't really. I think most of Western philosophy is kind of. I don't necessarily like because it's all like atheist philosophy, which isn't that interesting to me because it's just like an atheist worldview is just inherently an unhappy worldview. Also, realism, fantasy, existential anxiety, guilt, absurdity. I might like him. Oh my god, why is my laptop not working? Yeah, I might pick up a book by him. That seems pretty interesting. I mean, it's like it might be like when I read Nietzsche. It's just like they're interesting ideas, but it's more so the takeaway from it. Like I don't I don't necessarily want to read a shit ton of Nietzsche because it's just like it's interesting. They're interesting criticisms, but like where do you go with it? Like where does it escalate to? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like Epictetus. It's a shame that more of these people's ideas didn't last. Like a lot of them, kind of went missing. A lot of their writings, like even Aristotle, a lot of Aristotle's writings, we don't have. Nothing really survived from Socrates, but Socrates also didn't believe in writing things. So my mistake. Nietzsche escalates to conquering returns. My mistake. Yeah, The Prince is a really good book. The Prince is like one of um I don't think it's like it is applicable today. Like I think there's some interesting lessons in it, but I think it's more so just an interesting book to see the how people from that time viewed, historical leaders and like I mean he's citing Alexander the Great and he cites the good things and the bad things. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, wisdom. It's a good saying. Yeah, I really want to read. There's so many authors I have like a baseline understanding of, but I don't understand all of their ideas. Like Nietzsche is one that I have a very limited understanding of. Um, I think young, I'm starting to understand a lot more as I just expose myself to these ideas. But again, it's like, who's to say we can ever master what's in the mind of someone else? Yeah. I mean, the whole book, it's an interesting premise because it's the state before everything. So like, it's interesting from that perspective. But yeah, the thing is, like, if you read Machiavelli, you really just understand where the 48 Laws of Power comes from. You can see a lot of the inspiration for those laws in the Prince, in the works of Sun Tzu, The Art of War. Like it's all there. It's pretty interesting to see that like one of the best selling books of all time is literally just ripped off from these you know not ancient works, but these works that have stood the sands of time. I'm pretty sure Machiavelli was also a philosopher though, and maybe it'd be interesting to see his other works and get more of a context on that. But you get a lot of reps with people. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I definitely get that. Like when I first started reading Jung, I'm like, what even is this? And now I kind of understand it. Like if you really just look at Jung, he's just applying Eastern philosophy to Western philosophy. He's applying Eastern ideas of religion to Western ideas of religion, and he's trying to combine these things to um, understand the psyche, to diagnose and cure these illnesses. And he's also using it on himself, and that's the thing that's differing between Jung and Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud wasn't concerned with curing himself. He wasn't concerned with curing his own, you know, neuroses and all of the psychosis that was in that man. So that's why Jung will forever be better, because Jung was willing to admit that he wasn't correct on everything, that he didn't know everything, whereas Freud more so was he cared more about his authority, he cared more about his status, and Jung's willingness to admit defeat, his willingness to admit where he went wrong and admit his you know unconscious trauma and unconscious biases was it's inspiring to see one of the greatest minds be able to do that, and it's why his works are still so respected today. And like, I mean, I've read a little bit of Freud. I've read a little bit what he's about, but maybe I need to do more research into him. But he kind of just seems like someone that started to figure it out, but just stopped. Like he got to a lot of interesting ideas, but he became so hyper fixated on them that he was never able to expand them. Like, I mean, if you want to break down Freud's philosophy, everything was sexual to him. Everything was sexual, and if it wasn't directly attributed to sexuality, it became psychosexual. And it's like, I don't know about that. I don't know that every single working of the human mind has to do with sexuality. Maybe there's some carryover, but I don't think it's the end all be all. I think there's other concerns. There's other parts of the human psyche, and I mean, a lot of the reason why Freud felt this way is because he was an atheist. He didn't believe in the spiritual and in the metaphysical, in any sort of ideas of faith. He thought they were all hokum and they weren't anything to be looked at seriously. And I think this is a big reason why a lot of psychology doesn't work, because it doesn't consider the fantastical elements of faith. Do you believe in a higher power? I mean, I think you have to. Like, if you don't believe in God, you believe in no God, which is like your God basically. Like faith in no God is also the same kind of faith that someone has in Jesus Christ. It's literally the same. It's just we can direct our faith into something better or something worse. We can direct our faith in that there's some order or that there's disorder. And if you direct your faith into to disorder, I think you're going to live a disorderly life. But if you direct your faith into at least a higher purpose, like, then you're going to go somewhere. But I think if you believe in nothing, then your life is going to be nothing. But if you believe in something, then your life's going to be something. Power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Yeah. I think these are discussions that really should be had in I don't even know if it's in the school system, but like in the education system in general. Like, I think, did you read Intelligence by Osho? Yeah, it's one of my favorite books by Osho. Very, very good book. So interesting how Osho kind of Osho takes he's very good at criticizing the beliefs we hold and then showing why they don't accept the ideas of faith, the ideas of something more orderly, and how this kind of destroys humanity. What's that book about? Oh, what's up, Jessica? Intelligence. Intelligence is just about, if I were to break it down to a simple point, it's we operate from the idea that intelligence is just your memory. That however smart you are is how many things you can memorize, how well you can do on a test, but that's not true intelligence. So I show a prophet. I mean, you can call him whatever you want to call him. But basically, memory doesn't mean you're intelligent. The ability to solve unique problems and do it in a manner that's efficient is intelligence. But we misuse the word intelligence because we think a professor's smart, but a professor doesn't have any wisdom that he can apply to his own life. Like, he has all this knowledge that he's read from all these books, but he makes a good salary, but he's not a billionaire. You know what I mean? Like, there's business professors that will teach you about business, but they don't run a business, and it's like, is that really beneficial? Is that really anything that is extraordinary? And there's so many examples of people who use their higher faculties throughout history who were able to do extraordinary things, like Edison, like Einstein, like Tesla. Like, these people literally did, I mean, I guess you could call it occult practices, but they're really just creativity practices, and they were able to basically change the world with their ideas. And the over reliance on the mind, the over reliance on, the memory, is what makes people so dumb. It's the reason why people are like, oh, I don't like you if you're not a Republican. Oh, I don't like you if you're not a Democrat. It's the reason why these people are melting down on, Twitter or TikTok or Instagram right now. Like, it's because they don't think. It's because they're operating from their mind. They're not operating from their soul. Like, anyone that operates from their higher faculties understands that president doesn't really matter. It's all about the self. Do you believe that all religions share a common truth? I mean, to a certain degree, they do. To a certain degree, they have a similar belief system. If you look at Hermeticism, they all kind of align with those things. And I like to view religion more so as their esoteric text. They're more allegorical text, and the institutions make them more material. They make them more just, this is a doctrine, this is a government, this is this, this is that. Like, I think the beauty of religions is they're undefined and they're interpreted by the individual. And I think when you get away from that, it kind of takes away from the poeticism, the true lessons. And I mean, not to say if you believe in the historical aspects of the text that you're wrong, but I just like to take the allegorical more higher. Socrates was a huge fan of not writing things down. Yeah, yeah. The thing about Socrates was, like, Socrates didn't care about the information. It was more so the ideas and learning how to think. Like, the school system uses, oh, we have the Socratic method here. We're going to call on students and ask their input. Like, that's not the Socratic method. The Socratic method is asking the questions to get to the deeper meaning, the deeper purpose, the significance. Like, when we talk about the Socratic method in the school system, it's just, all right, when did this happen? What was this date? Why is this important? And it's like, none of these questions go over the overarching ideas and the overarching truth of, the thing. And it's like, I'm literally in law school, and they call it the Socratic method. They call on you and ask, like, the decision of the case. That's that's not that's not anything about what Socrates was about. It's honestly just ironic to see that the school system will even use Socrates' name and not understand what he was about. But what are you gonna do about it? But yeah, I think no matter what religion you are, get a piercing tool. Yes, yeah. Socrates, the thing that Socrates was a master at was if you got into an argument with Socrates, he could pick apart the answer you had, the argument you had, bit by bit by bit. Like, I think the easiest example is, you talk to a conspiracy theorists, they're like, we never landed on the moon, and then you just ask them like, okay, if this is true, how many people would have to be on board? And they say thousands, and then all you have to say is like, well, you don't think that one janitor that was somewhat aligned with this, that somewhat knew, wouldn't tell people that he was doing this? You know what I mean? Like that's the easiest way to start breaking down the arguments. Like always get it to the smallest thing and start breaking it down bit by bit by bit. That's what Socrates was really about. And not to say that's not like don't straw man an argument. Don't take it out of context and kind of destroy it that way. But like find the holes, find the chink in the armor, and start breaking it down bit by bit by bit. That's what Socrates was about. Seems like you go against school. I think school is good for certain things, but I think the institutions have gotten away from what school is really about. School is about the pursuit of knowledge and learning how to think, not learning what to think. Like we live in a day and age where everything's so rigid, so set in stone, and like I mean, even the humanities are forced to learn certain ideals and forced to go through certain paths. And look at literature, look at movies, look at TV shows. Like they're so terrible because nobody thinks freely. Like we had creative people, we would literally have great media, we would have great entertainment. And yeah, there's something to be said about like the people are dumber and the people don't want to think, but it's also like there's great TV shows and great movies from you know 30 years ago that are so stupid, but at least they have a good premise. At least they're exciting. At least they're interesting, and it's not just slop. You know what I mean? So I think the school system really needs to evaluate itself and really, change some things, and then we'll be more on board. But I criticize school, but there's also good parts of it, and there's also parts of the world where you're not allowed to learn certain ideas, and at least somewhat you can learn ideas in the school system. But I mean, inherently, it's just a business. If you really break it down, like there's just so much money involved in the institutional learning. There's so many people like, giving donations so that you can't learn certain things. Like if you're donating to a school and the ideology opposes what you're for, like, are you going to donate to the school? That's why they kind of have to limit these things. And it's sad that it really all comes down to money when it should just be about the pursuit of knowledge, the pursuit of learning. So that's why I always urge people to learn for themselves, because I mean, school might teach you the basics, but you need to really expand. Like everything that I know right now, I might attribute 10% to what I learned in school and 90% to what I learned on myself. And it's really that to I'm not saying any of these things to like, if you're a school teacher, you're a school teacher. Like you can still do a lot of good, but like I think it really comes down to the individual, and I think so many people see it as they can only learn in school, they can only learn in these institutions. Like if you're not a psychologist, you can't read psychology. If you're not a doctor, you can't read about health. Like I think this is kind of dumb. Can I ask you for some advice? Yeah, of course, man. I'm scared if you're afraid to ask it. If you don't want to ask it here too, you can join my Discord and then DM me. Um, but yeah. But yeah, always feel free to ask me things. If it's some crazy shit, I'm not gonna answer. But it's probably if it's something normal, like if it's like how to stop liking feet or something, I'm not gonna help you with that. I don't know why that was what came in my head. I was trying to think of the weirdest thing I could say that wasn't just outlandish. Things are gonna get clipped so bad. I already can tell there's like several moments that are gonna just get clipped when I just go viral, and I know one of them's gonna be me explaining to the guy that holds the paper up to the corner of the wall. The one good thing is my streams are so long that like it's gonna be hard for people to find these things. But yeah, always feel free to ask anything of me. If I can help you, if I can give an answer, then I will. If I can't, then I'll, you know. I mean, again, too, like advice is easy to give because it's always easy to look at the scenario objectively and give the best course of action. Like if I'm actually involved, that's when it gets more difficult. That's when it gets harder. Like my girlfriend watches me stream and she's like, why don't you take your own advice? And it's like, dude, it's a lot harder being in the moment. Like I can see it after the fact. I can see it, an hour removed. But while I'm in there, like sometimes I'll make the wrong decision. And that's what we need to understand. Like we can always know the correct answer after, and it's trying to just not say something that gets you in hot water, trying to, not ruin the relationship because you got a little too angry, you got a little too excited. Like knowing to just tamper your emotions and know that the answer is going to come, and it might not come right now, but it'll come in an hour or two. One of the best pieces of advice, I actually learned this from Osho, but it was basically saying, this old man, he was dying and his son was young and he didn't have any inheritance to give to his son. So instead of giving inheritance, he gave the best gift ever. He gave his son this method to deal with any situation. And basically it was saying that, like, anytime someone insults you, anytime someone gives you bad news, wait a day to respond. And he took this to heart and he literally became an enlightened man. And basically, like, anytime anyone would insult him, he would just, come back a day later and he would just say thank you, say awesome. Like when you allow yourself to ponder things, you realize that the situation is not really as serious as you think it is. I'm a college student studying for an exam, which is really competitive. I've been trying to study. Okay, so I have a really, really, really useful piece of advice. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to tell you just to stop studying. Like, obviously, keep studying, keep trying to learn, keep trying to master these concepts. But I think the first thing you should do is start visualizing yourself doing well in this exam. Start putting it in your head that you're going to do well. Start putting it in your head that you can do this, that there's no chance you're going to fail this, and just imagine yourself going in that exam and answering all the questions and knowing the answer. Because I feel like a lot of people get into the exam and they get anxious, they get afraid, and they're not able to perform. They're not able to express what they know on this test. And like, I don't want you to do that. I want you to be able to go into the test and actually write down on the paper what you know, actually give your best effort. Because I think if people can get over the test anxiety, I think they can perform so much better. So keep studying, but at the same time, I want you to imagine yourself doing well in this exam. Imagine yourself like having get 100% on this exam. Like imagine what you would say to your mom. Imagine what your friends would say. Imagine the feeling that you would have after this exam, and just start persisting in this as you're studying for it. And it's going to make it easier to study for it. And it's also going to make it easier when you start taking the exam. And if you start taking the exam and you don't know the answer, just take a few deep breaths. Take everything out of your mind. If you have to meditate for a few minutes, meditate for a few minutes. This is going to be worth it more than, whatever minutes of worrying. And really just allow yourself to give your best effort. Like, just understand that in the grand scheme of things, this test isn't that important. You can always retake a test. You can always move past these things. Like, don't take it so serious, and you're going to do so much better. Like, the less serious you take the exam, the more you see yourself doing well in it, the better you're going to do, and the better you're going to allow yourself to just flow, be creative, and give the best effort that you can. I think that's the best advice I can give you. But again, like, it's also there's other things you could do, but I think you didn't, like, I don't know what kind of exam it is. I don't, like, flashcards is a good way to do it. Writing things down is a good way to do it. It's easier to impress your subconscious with these ideas when you write stuff down too. So that's another good way to do it. It's an entrance exam. Yeah, just imagine yourself doing really good. Just imagine yourself knowing the answers to this exam. Imagine yourself being able to answer all the questions with ease, and coming from that mindset and having the information that you're already studying, like, I think you're going to do so much better. Whereas, like, for most of my life, I wouldn't do good on exams because literally I would see myself doing bad. And if you see yourself doing good, it's so much easier to, even if you don't know the information, at least give your best effort, at least put everything you know on paper. Because there's so many exams that I feel like I knew all the information, but for whatever reason, I couldn't express it. I couldn't get it down, and it was because I was afraid. It was because I had fear, anxiety. It was because I second guessed myself. And I want you to get to the state where you're not second guessing yourself. So I need to teach kids how to think instead of what to think. Yeah, yeah. Mind map self. I don't know what that is. Yeah, yeah. Like it's like it doesn't seem like it's gonna work, but I'm telling you, if you believe you can, you're always gonna go so much further. Like literally just going into an exam with confidence and knowing that you can do it and feeling like you've already done it is the recipe to actually getting it done. Like if you ask any UFC fighter, like some of them are nervous, but the ones that are always going to perform best are the ones that are just relaxed, that just go out and pretend like it's training, pretend like they're doing their best. And there's some people that can rise to the occasion. There's some people that can really master that energy and allow it to flow through them. But um, I think the easier way to go about it is to just imagine yourself already doing it. Imagine that you can do it and just do it. Look up mind maps. Yeah, the power of belief is something that like has been mastered for thousands of years. I mean, like look at any great religious text. They're all talking about that. How does the education system contribute to or reduce social inequity? I think they just contribute to it because the ideas that we believe really go to shape our reality. So they're teaching people that there's racial divides when there's really a class divide. It's really about income inequality and it's not about race inequality. Like I think these are all arbitrary issues when you look at like the top 1% owns more wealth than the bottom 50%, or it's like some insane statistic like that. And it's like it's not about race, it's about class, it's about money, it's about economics. And like it's really dumb to me how we're pushing these ideologies, these diversity requirements, all of these things when it's really just, do we all have to come together, understand that we have more alike than we have differences, and understand the differences so that we can move forward. Like we don't have to demonize ourselves for the things that our ancestors did. We just have to learn from them and not make the same mistakes. Like whenever we demonize, like it can go back to the individual too. Like there's all these guys online that are talking about nofap, and it's like the reason why you keep going back is because every time you do it, you get angry at yourself and you build a shadow and you get angry and you shame yourself and you push this down, and then it manifests itself again when you get stressed out, when you get anxious. Like all of the things that we build up in our minds become the demons that hold us down later in life. And I mean the education system is just pushing this racial divide, and it's just so stupid. Like dude, there's probably things that you don't understand about another race, and maybe that's why you don't like them. Maybe that's why you don't understand them. Like when you just look at it objectively from their shoes, like that's always the way forward. But we don't learn perspective. We don't learn to look from situations from the other side. We learn, oh my God, you're bad because your ancestors did this. I think it's just a dumb way to go through it. And I mean, like dude, like if you treat yourself like a victim, you're going to become one. That's truly how it works. Like whatever you view the world to be is how the world becomes. And I'm not saying there's not injustice in this world, but I'm saying like we don't have to choose to make it the end all be all. Like dude, my girlfriend's black. My kids are going to be half black. Like I'm not going to teach them that they're limited in any way. I'm going to teach them that there's some people out there that are not going to like them and that are going to judge them, but like that's good because they don't have to deal with these stupid individuals. You know what I mean? Like it's really stupid that we're teaching these kids that there's a limit to their lives. Like if you teach kids that they're limited, they're going to become limited. If you teach kids that they're unlimited, then they're going to change the world. Like it's that simple. Like don't teach limiting beliefs. Don't hold limiting beliefs. I don't believe anything that stops me from becoming all that I can be. And that's a message that needs to be spread to kids. We don't need to teach the inverse. We don't need to teach that there's things that they'll never be able to do because of how they look, because of what they do in their free time. Like it's not, it's just so fucking stupid. Can you share any good tips for the preparation exam except from distractions? Okay, so the best way to do this is, it's not this is not conventional advice, but this is the best thing you can do. Um, so every time you get distracted, just find something else to do and find something productive to do. So like if you're getting distracted, clean your room. If you're getting distracted, go on a walk around the neighborhood and just allow your mind to just be distracted and then go back into that thing. And while you're being distracted, like that's usually when the best ideas come. So like if I'm doing a project, if I'm trying to find the solution to something, like, and I can't do it for whatever reason, like just going on a 10-minute walk and coming back to it, usually that's all the time away that you need to do it. And like don't feel bad if you have to go on a walk for every 10 minutes. Just understand that like the time that you're spending on that studying is much better than you studying, picking up your phone, putting it down, going 5 more minutes, picking up your phone, going back. Like find resets, find meditation. Like it's really just about allowing yourself to just sit in front of the screen, sit in front of the book, and absorb the information. And if you have to take breaks, take breaks. But this is really the best thing I've found. Just going on walks, finding distractions, and like however many times you have to go on a walk, don't feel pressure about it. Don't feel anxiety about it. Just understand that like you're gonna absorb more information through this than you are through the way you're doing it. Because I mean, most people, they'll be like, oh, I studied 50 hours for this exam, but is the 50 hours any, if they're operating at 10% brain power, is that 50 hours actually effective? Or is operating at 70-80% brain power for a handful of hours, is that going to teach you more? Are you going to learn more? Are you going to observe more? Like, think about it like that. Like, you want to do good work, you want to do good studying, you don't want to just do mindless studying. Like, we've all studied for exams and we just looked at the books for 8 hours and we didn't learn anything. Like, you don't feel the need to do that. Like, genuinely learning the topics doesn't take that long. It's just absorbing all the information and being able to apply it. That's what we need to start doing. And like, the more of a flow state we can be in, the more we can just make it fun, the more we can just make it interesting and engaging, the more good energy that we can put to studying. Like, that's going to be the better option. Like, don't view it from the amount of hours you spend, view it from the quality of hours. Yeah, that too. If you can even trying to like you don't even have to explain it to someone, um but trying to teach someone something is always the best way to learn. So I've learned young much more from trying to teach it to you guys than I have reading his books. Like, it's always, you always are able to understand something better when you have to compare it to something, when you have to explain it to a layman, when you have to explain it to someone that has no experience. So like, if you have a friend that is also studying for this exam, why don't you guys bounce ideas off each other? Like, you try to teach him something, he tries to teach you something. And it was Seneca that said that when you're teaching someone, you are both taking on a teaching and a learning role, because while you're teaching someone this thing, you're learning how to put the idea in a more simple concept. And if you can simplify a hard idea into something that a idiot can understand, you are a genius. I think that was Richard Feynman that said that. He was a physicist. He was a professor at Stanford, I think, and he got the Nobel Prize. So I would listen to him over me. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. I think that's one of the greatest ideas. I don't really cite people that are educators, but I think Feynman's a good example of good educators. And that's the thing. It's like we can take away things from people that we don't even necessarily agree with, that we necessarily support. Like, everyone has something to teach us, and that's the greatest thing about life. But yeah, I really want you to just like do good work, do good studying. Don't just don't put your head down. Like you need to take breaks, you need to reset your brain, and you're either gonna reset your brain going on TikTok, going on Instagram, watching my live. Like it's literally just, when you feel motivated to work. When you don't feel motivated to work, like clean your room, do the dishes, then come back to it. Like, there's all these things around the house that you can be doing while you're studying, and I'm telling you, while you're walking, you're probably going to be thinking about the exam. You're probably going to be thinking about the ideas, and it might just click. That might just be the breakthrough that you needed. Like, I'm really telling you, this shit works like crazy, like magic. Like, the ideas of just walking, the ideas you get from that is, I think it was Nietzsche that said the best ideas always come from a walk. Like, this isn't just me saying this isn't just me. Like, I've read these things, and I know that the greatest minds throughout history have done these practices. And it's like, maybe you don't want to be as unique as them, maybe you don't want to be as exceptional as them, but like, you can still do these exceptional things to get great results in your life. That's the most fun thing about reading too. It's like you learn what the greatest minds thought, you learn what the greatest minds did and how they became great. And you realize that it's really not that hard, it's really not that difficult. It's just doing these practices, becoming creative, and learning how to master creativity so that you can master your reality. What do you mean everyone has something to teach us? Okay, so think of someone you dislike. I think this is the best example. Everyone, we can learn something from everybody. Maybe it's not direct, it could be indirect, but think of someone you dislike. Like think of a characteristic in your friend that you absolutely hate. So one of my friends is extremely lazy. I'm not like I used to think laziness was a bad thing. It's actually a good thing in certain reserves, in certain aspects, and this is what we have to learn from everybody. Like I have a friend who's extremely lazy. Like it takes him 2 hours to get out of bed when he wakes up, and like if I'm with him somewhere, I'm like, yo, let's go to the gym. And then an hour later, he's like, all right, I'm ready. Are you ready? And I'm like, dude, I've just read like an entire book. Like, now you're ready. Like, it's really easy for me to get mad and upset about someone who's lazy and be like, I'm such a go-getter. Why isn't this person just active? Why is like, and in the grand scheme of things, like, he understands how to shut his brain off. He understands how to relax. Where if I'm on vacation, if I'm, down the shore, if I don't have any responsibilities, I always have to be doing something. And like, there's a part of me that envies that. There's a part of me that appreciates that and wishes I could do the same thing. So like we can always find good things in negativity. We can always find good things in what we dislike about somebody. Like if you dislike someone, then there's probably something about them that you wish you had. And it might not be a good characteristic. You might have to find the deeper meaning, the deeper truth. Like there's like a lot of people that I've hung out with in the past. I'm just like, why does this person just feel like they can go out every weekend and that things are just gonna work out? And it's like there's a part of me that envies people that don't have drive, that don't have discipline, because sometimes it feels like I'm banging my head against the wall and I'm not making any progress. And you know what? They're just going with the flow. They're just going out on the weekends. They're spending money that they don't have. Like there's a part of me that envies this ability to relax. So that's what I mean when we can learn something from everybody. And everyone has a different experience, and everyone's experience is 100% justified. Like if you were in this other person's shoes, you would probably make the same decisions. And understanding that and being able to apply that day after day and apply that to every argument, you really learn a lot on how to deal with people, and you learn a lot about the individuals, and you learn about motivations, and you see things from a different side. And when you see things from a different side, you can rationalize your life in a different way. And that's really all you have to do to start finding yourself, to start making yourself happy again. I hope that answered your question. I'm gonna run to the bathroom. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Yeah, I think I gave a good answer on that, but also, um, everyone kind of has an expertise in this world. Everyone has something that they take serious, and like on an ironic level, we all kind of master things. Like think of the guy that knows every fantasy football stat. Like that's maybe not a useful thing to know, but we all know things like that. We all have a mastery of some subject. Like as human beings, we all have a curiosity, and we all cater this to what we like the most. So like you can learn some very interesting things from some very dumb people. Some very dumb people might have a like one perspective, one thing they know that could teach you a lot. So it's always being able to absorb information from everybody. Like knowledge is power. Knowledge is never bad. It's how it's applied. So it's like you can even learn a lot of things from people you dislike. Like I can look to billionaires and learn practices that they did that made them billionaires, but I might not agree with their business practices. I might not agree with what they're doing right now. I might not agree with how they made their money, but I can always learn something from everybody and start applying it into my own life. So that's another perspective to take it in. So, yeah. But yeah, anyone want any book suggestions? Want to talk about anything? That's really all I gotta say about that subject. Unless I wasn't clear enough. That was great info. Thank you. Thank you. I try. Sometimes it's like this. Sometimes it's just nonsense. That's the problem. Like I can't. I'm getting better and better at just flowing more throughout the day, but sometimes it just doesn't come to me. And it's like anything. It's just a skill. Being creative is a skill. Like Da Vinci's first painting was not a masterpiece, but his last one certainly was. And it's like we can always look at the finished product and be like, I'm not talented, but we can also just look at where people started and realize that one day they were at the same level as us, maybe even worse off. And we can achieve the same things if we just really put our mind to it. I think I don't necessarily like this author. Malcolm Gladwell has a good rule. It's called the 10,000 hour rule. And basically it says that when you hit 10,000 hours, you can basically just master something. So it's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't necessarily matter if you're good at it when you start, but if you put in 10,000 hours, you can do it. You can achieve any goal. And it's like, think of any great individual throughout history. They spent 10,000 hours mastering a craft. And it's about then when they actually start getting recognized for it, when they actually start getting the accolades that they always searched out for. And I mean, 10,000 hours is basically like 10 years of dedication is really what it's saying. The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Is that how you say it? Yeah, I really like that book. It's a good book. That's one of the books that I will suggest to everybody because I think everybody can take something away from it. I think everybody can read the story, like the story, and then understand what the story's saying. Because the story is basically saying that we have so much more of ourselves, but we never realize it. We never realize that what we're looking for is really back where we started. Like we have everything within us to achieve whatever goal, but people are looking for something external, looking for material things instead of the experience of it all. Like I was flipping through it the other day, and there was a quote. And it was like, the shepherd boy was talking about the girl he met at the oasis, and he was saying she's worth more to me than any treasure I could find. And it's like, what's material wealth if we don't have spiritual fulfillment? What's material wealth if we don't have people around us that we love? And it's like, there's just so many lessons in that book, and it's such a good book. It really is. It really is. Like that's a book I'll suggest for every single individual to read because kids would love it, old people would love it. My most masculine friends would love it. Like it's a great book. Yeah, you haven't read it, Jessica? I think you really like it. It's only about I think it's like 180 pages. It's one of those books that you start reading and you can't put down, and then you put it down and you're like, damn, I wish it was longer. That's the kind of book it is. But I don't even really like fiction like that. Fiction's kind of boring because I think the real world's more exciting than any fiction. But when a work of fiction can make you reread it and you take something different away, that's when you know it's a really, really good book. I used to be not good at chess, but I used to play it a lot during class. I just got bored of it though. You good at chess? I wish I played as a kid. I feel like I'd be a lot better. But I just learned how to play last year. Well, the problem is when I play chess, a lot of the times I'm so exhausted or like I'm so hungry that my brain's just not working and I can't focus enough on the game. My rating, I don't know what my rating is. I play computers mostly. It's like I don't like playing people because then like a lot of times they'll just like it'll take too long for a move when like I'm gonna clearly win, or like they're just rubbing it in. Like it's just like I feel like if I was playing face to face it'd be different, but over the internet it's just like people like troll you and I just get annoyed. And when I get annoyed I can't play well. So it's like yeah, I think chess is a fun game though. It's like hilarious to watch like Hikaru, like watch him stream and you're like, I will never be this good. Like when he just pre-moves everything, you're just like, what in the world is this? Like this is just not fair. Like that dude is like just a supercomputer in his brain. Or you look up like Bobby Fischer's old games and people explain it and you're like, all right, this guy might have been insane, but insanely smart at the same time. Yeah, dude. I don't watch them live, but like watching the clips of them just pre-move for 30 moves, you're like, how does this, and like the end games they know are just insane. Like it's just being able to memorize the book moves, I feel like gives you such an advantage because I don't know them. Like I don't know the pins and stuff like that, so I feel like if I knew that, it would just be like a joke. Because there gets to certain like alignments, certain spaces, and certain pieces. Like they literally know how to win the game at a certain point. Like they just know. Like there's nothing you can do. They know all the variations. They know all the lines. It's so impressive. The whole thing about oh, what was it, Hans Niemann? Is that who it was? The guy that was like that beat Magnus, and there was the whole scandal of him cheating, and they're like, someone was like, they offered him $1 million to play Magnus completely butt naked. Like that shit was so funny. Imagine you're just like a chess player and like people are like accusing you of like having butt plugs that vibrate, so you knew what to move. Like even to cheat in chess, you have to be good at chess. Like you have to know Morse code. You have to know the squares. Like it's just yeah, yeah. So there was all this speculation. I don't know if I'm like saying things that were actually said. This might have just been someone making a joke, but there's so like if you have like some sort of computer, some sort of device that can send you Morse code, you can know what square to use. So basically, people were saying that that's what was happening. That's what people were. That's what he was doing, and a lot of times it's like in their shoe or they were saying butt plugs. I don't know. It's crazy. You guys look it up. It's hilarious. Basically, they were saying like something was vibrating and telling them where to move. So you imagine that yourself. I'm not gonna imagine that. I mean, in theory, it could be correct, but it's like there's also easier ways to do it. Like you could just put it in your shoe. It's not that big of a deal. Well, the thing is, if you beat Magnus Carlsen in a big tournament, like that makes your career, and you can. I mean, chess is one of those sports where you can teach lessons. You can teach moves. Like you can write books. Like it's there's a lot of money to be made nowadays, and it's one of those things of like if you say you're a top chess player in the world, everyone's like that's kind of cool. It's kind of like it's almost like being an NBA player. You know what I mean? It's like if you're in that sphere, like people look up to you in that light. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I should become big enough so I can do chess boxing, and I don't even have to work on my chess skills. I'll just knock out all the streamers. Guys, I think that's how I go. That's how I think I get famous. I start streaming chess, and I start calling out like Gotham Chess for fucking chess boxing. And I don't know how big he is, but I know he's not big, and I know he doesn't box, so I'll just beat him. That's what we're gonna do. I'm Gotham Chess. I challenge you to chess boxing. Dude, watch him like just be like trained since this is the day he was like this tall. Like watch him just beat the shit out of you. That'd be so funny. My boxing's not even good. I just know. I just have a jab. That's it. If people can get past my jab, my boxing's terrible. But I'm so tall that my jab's so long. Like it's kind of unfair. It's not even fun for me to spar boxing, kickboxing, because a lot of people can't deal with my size, and if they can deal with my size, that means they're just an animal. And it's like I'm not gonna learn anything because I'm just gonna be riding. I'm just gonna be getting distance, and I guess it's fun sometimes, but I get headaches from like if I do this, I can get a headache. Like it's just annoying that way. But yeah, Gotham Chess. I know you're ducking me. What'd you say about me, Magnus? Do you get hurt a lot? I mean, it's like minor injuries. It's not like every once in a while people get major injuries, but like someone will put me in an arm bar and my arm will pop and I'll be like, ow, and then it'll hurt tomorrow. That's it. Like a lot of times you get hurt when you're trying to get out of stuff. Like my shoulders are messed up not because I get put in stuff, it's because I get out of it. Like it's not enough pain for me to tap, but it's enough discomfort for me to feel it the next day, and then I don't rehab it properly, and then it develops into like right now. Can you hear my shoulder clicking? You hear that? That's not good. Like that's just like I have full use of my shoulder, but it clicks every time I use it. So it's like, well, it just means so your rotator cuff is like it's like a ball in a socket, and there's like four muscles. I think it's 4 or 5 muscles that like balance to keep it there. And if you hear clicking, that just means one of them's out of place, one of them's catching. That's all that means. Not necessarily like if there's no pain, I wouldn't say worry about it. But like if it's clicking, then it's means something's not moving smoothly. And if something's not moving smoothly, then you could possibly get injured. So it's like just being aware of it and trying to fix it. I've just been so lazy recently. I'm gonna go to the gym and I'll try to fix it after this. Don't worry. But no, my shoulders don't pop out of socket. Yeah, what do you guys want to talk about? Aside from me beating up Gotham Chess. I actually really like him. I hope this doesn't sound like I'm trying to pick on him. He's actually a cool guy. Anything for clout though, right? It's crazy how much some people chase clout. Like, dude, like those street interviews are literally like the least entertaining things ever. I don't know why they get views, and like I like, dude, I would rather never be recognized by anybody than do a street interview. Like, I just think that's just, ugh. Like, nothing good has ever come from a street interview. There's never been an interesting clip. There's never been an interesting idea. There's been no insight. I've never learned anything that can positively benefit me. I've just been like, I just wasted a minute of my life. It's just nonsense. It's the same thing with like the balloon popping videos. Those are the dumbest videos I've ever seen. Like, wow. Oh, you popped the balloon. Oh. It's fucking like, what passes for entertainment nowadays? It's just a joke. I mean, I guess this passes as entertainment, right? Maybe not. The only person I make laugh is myself. Oh, yeah, what do you guys want to talk about? I'll stay on if we got some interesting things, but if not, I'll head out. I don't really have much to do, but like I have things to do. So, but yeah, I guess we'll just end it because nobody's saying anything. Starting to get hungry, starting to get tired. I may stream on my other channel later. Um, I don't know if it's gonna be this kind of stream or the other kind of stream, but yeah, stay tuned for that. Peace out, guys.